Hi there, back again. Might be overshooting now, going for a third night in a row to do one of these, but I'll give it a go anyway because I've been enjoying doing it. And I got two more randomly selected records. Now I have to confess that I have broken my own rules, excuse me, in that um, I did pass by one of the records that was coming up next because I just have nothing to say about Simply Red, I'm afraid. Except that my cocktail turned out. Anyway, I won't say anything about Simply Red. I was something that I really enjoyed one time. I have to say, myself and Maria, it was one of our first dates, probably, up in Galway again. Simply Red, yeah, that was a nice evening, I have to say. But, uh, and when they came along, Money's Too Tight to Mention, that was really good. I mean, it was really good because at the time, there was very little by way of protest music going on. And that was a good protest song, and it was a hit single to boot. And there was a few good songs in that Picture Book album. But anyway, I'm just not interested enough to spend 10 minutes or 5 minutes even talking about Simply Red. But now that I've started, I probably could keep going. But anyway, so the two albums tonight, having passed by Simply Red, like, this one was the next up. No, it's kind of odd that I have an undertones. This is called Cher Bowlies. I don't know. I find it very hard to, yeah, Cher Bowlies, to pick with the undertones. I don't really know why I have an undertones compilation album because I have all their albums. I have all their albums from the original undertones. I think they reunited undertones with a different singer. I was going to say Steve Mack, but he was the singer in Petrol Emotion. I can't remember who the singer in the current undertones is. Anyway, so there were four albums: The Undertones, more songs about chocolate and girls, The Positive Touch, and The Sin of Pride. And for some reason, I have a compilation album as well, as if that wasn't enough. But look, why did I get this? I don't know. I have it since 1986, which would have been after I had all those other albums. So what's that about? But the Undertones, very important band to me. Uh, they were my way into the whole new wave thing, really. Well, yeah, there was a couple of other things, but the Undertones, um, I saw them on Top of the Pops doing my Jimmy Jimmy, and I wasn't impressed, to be honest. And my friends at school were all really, really into them. And I didn't go for it. I didn't like Sharky's voice, and I didn't think much of the lyrics of the song. And then they came to Limerick, and I told this story in the record club thing that I did, so I don't want to be going into it again. But they came to Limerick. I ended up going to the gig just because my friends were going, and it was going to be a night out. And oh man, I was totally converted that night. Unbelievable, and just a raw energy and incredible pop music. So that was my way into the Undertones, and it kind of opened up that whole new wave thing for me, I suppose, as well. So I have no, I don't have much specific to say about the Cher Bowlies, except like oh, there's the four albums on the back of it. The, Teenage Kicks, of course, is the obvious one, and that film, Good Vibrations, is fantastic, and it goes into the whole thing about the release of Teenage Kicks. And if you haven't seen that um, film about that record label, Good Vibrations, set up by Terry Hooley up in Belfast, back in the middle of the really hard times up there with the Troubles, and they recorded Rudy and the Outcasts, and then these guys came over from Derry and said, "You have to record us now," and he did so. And anyway, great story do with um, to do with the release of that song. Now, when I saw the Undertones, I was extremely impressed with them musically, because I'd seen other well, as time went by, I got to see other bands of that kind of new wave thing, and some of them were brilliant. I enjoyed Madness when I saw them, but I didn't think that they were really in charge of their instruments. To be honest. I hope Dean McDarby doesn't see this. Um, they were great, like, but the difference between the American and the English kind of new wave was that the Americans, they flipping knew their instruments, and they knew how to play. The English, well, I mean, it was that, garage aesthetic, and the idea was that anybody can do it. You can play a couple of chords on the guitar, get out there and do it, and that was a great kind of principle of operation, I suppose. And it was some great music came out of it. So, with the Undertones, these guys could play, no question about it. And you know, when you look at the tracks on this compilation album, it's just a fabulous band. My favorite album of theirs was The Positive Touch. Actually, it's called Positive Touch. I always call it the. Oh no, it is The Positive Touch. That was their third album, and they didn't have any hits off it. Actually, I don't think they had any hits really off that album, and they had no hits off their fourth album, which is a lovely album, very kind of Motown-y type thing that they got into. But the failure of that kind of was the end of the road for the Undertones. But I mean, if you haven't, if you missed out on the Undertones, or if you've only heard Teenage Kicks, you should explore them and explore their third and fourth albums, The Positive Touch and The Sin of Pride, because those are just great albums. They don't have the kind of hooks, we'll say, of the first two albums, but they're more mature and fabulous records. Okay, so that's the Undertones, Cher Bowlies' greatest hits. But I think, with the Undertones, you're better off getting their actual albums rather than picking up a compilation album. Now, the other one tonight, and I'm up past 7 minutes already, and I mean, sure, I could talk all night about this band and about this album, which actually, as it happens, as I say, it's the one that came to hand, but I would say it is my favourite R.E.M. album. Well, it and New Adventures in Hi-Fi and Monster and Reckoning. No, seriously. Document and New Adventures, I think, will be my two favorite albums of theirs. But Document number 5 is actually kind of like it's REM number 5 Document. Anyway, REM when they came out, they were really very important to me because I was kind of like weary of what was going on. There was not much happening. It was the MTV era and MTUSA in Ireland. And like, it was entertaining. It was really good. I used to really enjoy the show, but I mean, there was nothing really substantial going on there. And then one Sunday, it used to be on Sunday afternoons, and one Sunday, the presenter Vincent Hanley threw on Radio Free Europe and South Central Rain by R.E.M., and I was blown away. I immediately got what was their current album at that time, which was Reckoning, beautiful kind of country rock almost, country new wave, I suppose. But definitely, you could hear while they were kind of a modern rock band, you could hear Simon and Garfunkel in there, and you could hear the Birds in there for sure. Then they had so that was Murmur was the first album, then Reckoning, then Fables, and then this. No, there was another one, Life's Rich Pageant, and then this, and it just grew from album to album to album. I never saw them live. I don't know why that is. I know why I didn't see them live. On one occasion, in around 1987 or 88, they came to Dublin and the support band. R.E.M. would have been absolutely my favourite band at that time. And my second favourite band at that time would have been the Go-Betweens, and they were the support act. And I missed it. I was playing in a band myself. Don't get the impression that I'm a musician or anything now from me saying that. I can play G, C, D, E, and F as well even. But anyway, I was in a band and we had a gig man on the night of the R.E.M. gig, and I didn't go to the R.E.M. gig. R.E.M. and the Go-Betweens. That was one of the worst decisions of my life, I have to say. And then they played in Slane, and they played in Ireland a few times. And for whatever reason, I never freaking saw them. But anyway, look, going back, I was supposed to be talking about the album. Document is a brilliant album. I think it's The End of the World as We Know It is on this. That's where it first surfaced. I have to look at the actual record because I can't read the flipping back of the album. Yeah, The One I Love, that's a lovely song. It's a very simple song. My brother used to sing that very nicely. Oh, I'm sure he still does. Well, he probably mightn't sing it still, but he could still sing it. Yeah, great collection of songs on this. And of course, the best known one is It's the End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine. And of course, it's getting a lot of airplay these days for some reason. Anyway, look, I don't know. I'll leave it at that. Talk to you again. Take care.